I used to believe my life had a clear path. My son will lead this company one day, my father often told the executives during meetings. Every time he said it, I felt a quiet pressure inside my chest. Don't embarrass me, he would add later when we were alone. I won't, I always answered. And I meant it. I spent my childhood preparing for that promise. Tutors, business lessons, strict schedules. While other kids played outside, I studied reports and listened to my father explain markets and investments. Success requires sacrifice, he said one night while I struggled through a financial report. I understand, I told him. Do you? He asked. Yes. He stared at me for a long moment, then nodded once. Good. My mother rarely spoke during those moments. She sat quietly at the dining table, sipping tea. Sometimes I try to talk to her. Did you read the book I recommended? I asked once. She barely looked at me. I've been busy. Busy with what? She didn't answer. That silence followed me through most of my life. My cousin Leo was the opposite. He talked too much. You study too hard. He laughed one afternoon while I reviewed company files. Someone has to, I replied. Relax, he said, leaning back in his chair. You're already the chosen prince. I'm not a prince. Sure you are, Leo smirked. Uncle built the kingdom just for you. I ignored him and kept reading. He leaned closer. Doesn't it feel strange? What? Knowing everything will belong to you someday. I closed the file slowly. It's not about belonging to me, I said. It's about responsibility. Leo chuckled. You really believe that? Yes. Well, he shrugged. Good luck with that. Despite his jokes, I believed my place in the family was secure. At least I did. Until the morning, everything changed. A house manager knocked on my door. Sir, your father is asking for you in the main hall. At this hour? I asked. Yes. Did something happen? I'm not sure. I walked downstairs and immediately felt the tension in the room. My father stood near the long table. My mother sat beside him. Leo leaned against the wall. Everyone looked serious. What's going on? I asked. My father gestured toward chair. Sit. I obeyed. Is this about the new project? I asked. No. His voice sounded colder than usual. We have an important family matter. Leo folded his arms and watched me with strange curiosity. I frowned. Important how? Before my father answered, the door opened. A young man walked into the room. I had never seen him before. He looked about my age. Confident. Calm. Almost too calm. He stopped beside my father. Good morning, the stranger said. I looked at him, confused. Who are you? My father took a slow breath. This is Daniel. Okay, I said. Why is he here? My father didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked directly at me. There's something you need to know. My chest tightened. What kind of thing? A truth, he said. Daniel stayed silent. My mother stared at the table. Leo looked like he was waiting for a show. Finally, my father spoke. Daniel is my son. I blinked. What? My biological son, he repeated. The room felt suddenly smaller. That doesn't make sense, I said. It does. You never mentioned him. There were reasons. I looked at Daniel again. He gave me a small, polite smile. Nice to finally meet you, he said. My voice came out sharper than I expected. Finally, yes, he replied calmly. I've known about you for a while. I turned back to my father. You knew about him all these years? Yes. And you never told me? No. Why? He answered without emotion. Because the time wasn't right. I laughed quietly, but there was no humor in it. And now the time is right? Yes. Why? My father's voice became firm. Because Daniel will now take his rightful place in this family. I felt something crack inside my chest. What does that mean? It means, he said slowly, he will inherit the company. I stared at him. That's my role. Not anymore. My hands tightened. I've spent my whole life preparing for it. I know. Then how can you say that? My father's expression didn't change. Because blood matters. I felt my throat tighten. I am your son. You were raised as my son. The words hit harder than I expected. What is that supposed to mean? My father looked directly into my eyes. It means you were never the true heir. The room went silent. I turned toward my mother. Is this real? She avoided my gaze. Your father made his decision. That's not an answer. She whispered softly. Please don't make this harder. I stood up slowly. So everything I did, every year I worked for this family. No one spoke. Leo finally broke the silence. Well, he said lightly, this just got interesting. I ignored him. Instead, I focused on my father. You told everyone I would lead the company. That was before. Before what? Before Daniel returned. I looked at Daniel again. He didn't look guilty. He just looked comfortable. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Are you? I asked. He hesitated. A little. My father spoke again. Daniel is the real heir. I felt anger rising. And what am I? My father's answer came without hesitation. You were just temporary. The words cut deeper than any insult. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Everything I believed about my life suddenly felt like a lie. The company, the family, the future, all of it. Leo whistled quietly. Didn't see that coming, he muttered. I looked at my father one last time. You planned this. Yes. For how long? A long time. And you never thought I deserved the truth? He didn't answer. That silence told me everything. I sat down slowly, staring at the floor. My voice came out barely above a whisper. So that's it? Yes, my father said. I laughed softly, but the sound felt broken. Then I guess I never really belonged here. No one argued. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. Leo smirked. My mother kept staring at the table. And in that moment, I felt something inside me collapse completely. The life I thought was mine had never truly existed. I walked into my father's office, trying to steady my voice. I don't understand. I've spent years learning the company. I've done everything you ask. You've done well, he said, his tone flat. But Daniel is the heir. That decision isn't negotiable. I stared at him. You're dismissing everything I've done? Everything I sacrificed. Sacrifice doesn't change blood, he replied. You were a placeholder, nothing more. I felt my chest tighten. A placeholder? I gave my life for this family. He didn't flinch. It's irrelevant now. Daniel will lead. I turned toward Daniel. And you? You've just appeared, and suddenly you get my place. Daniel smiled, polite but empty. I hope we can work together. Work together? I laughed bitterly. You don't even understand what I built here. Leo leaned against the wall, smirking. Come on, you can't fight the inevitable. Just step aside gracefully. I clenched my fists. Step aside? After everything. Daniel's voice was calm. I respect what you've done. Truly. But my father chose me. That's final. I looked around the office. Executives I once trusted avoided my gaze. One of them muttered, change is always difficult. Difficult? You mean unfair? I snapped. My father sighed. I know this is hard, but loyalty alone doesn't make a legacy. Daniel is the heir. Accept it. I can't accept it, I said. Not like this. You're erasing my life, my purpose. He leaned back, unbothered. Life isn't fair. The world doesn't owe you recognition. Daniel will take your place, and you will move on. I swallowed hard. Move on? Where? How? This was my life. Daniel stepped forward. I don't want to hurt you. I hope we can coexist, at least professionally. Coexist? I scoffed. You'll replace me in every meeting, every decision, every expectation. Coexist. Leo chuckled. You're dramatic. Let him do his job. You'll see it's not that bad. I shook my head. You don't understand. This isn't about him. It's about everything I invested, everything I believed in. My father's expression softened slightly. Belief doesn't equal reality. Daniel is the future. I looked at him, my voice trembling. And me? What am I now? You are my son, he said carefully, but not the successor. That role belongs to Daniel. I slammed my hand on the desk. You've spent years preparing me, only to discard me like I was nothing. You were never nothing, he replied. But reality has changed. Daniel interjected quietly. I don't want to humiliate you. I truly don't. I just exist now in the position you thought was yours. I glared at him. Your existence doesn't justify stealing my place. Leo shrugged. You can either fight or leave gracefully. Honestly, leaving might be easier. I turned to my mother, desperate for some support. Mom, please. Say something. Don't let this happen. She looked down, avoiding my eyes. It's better if you quietly leave. Quietly leave? I repeated. After everything? Her voice was soft. You'll hurt yourself if you stay. They're set on Daniel now. Accept it before it destroys you further. I felt tears prick my eyes. All of you just pushed me out? Not just us, she said gently. This is reality. You have to survive it. I turned back to the office, my hands shaking. Survive it? You've taken my life away. Daniel stepped closer. Don't worry. I'll take good care of the life you couldn't handle. The words cut deeper than any knife. I clenched my jaw. Life I couldn't handle? I whispered to myself. I built it. I lived it. I sacrificed for it. Leo smirked. He's already talking like the boss. Funny, isn't it? I didn't answer. I simply gathered my things. Every file, every personal item, every reminder of my years there. Daniel said quietly, I hope one day you'll forgive me. I didn't look at him. I didn't speak. I walked through the house silently, passing rooms filled with memories, but feeling like a stranger in my own home. The dining room was empty except for my father. He nodded once. No words. I paused at the doorway. Goodbye, I said, my voice cold. The car keys felt heavy in my hand. I didn't know where I'd go. I didn't know what I'd do. But I knew one thing. I would leave with anger, with heartbreak, and with the knowledge that nothing in that house was mine anymore. As I stepped into the night, I felt the weight of my own life pressing down. And yet, somehow, I survived the first step of losing everything. The first morning outside my old life hit me like a wall. I stared at my reflection, my expensive suit replaced by a cheap shirt and worn shoes. Not exactly how I imagined my first day, I muttered. Mr. Harris greeted me at the office. You're here, he said simply. No judgment, no fanfare. I need this job, I admitted. I can do anything. He raised an eyebrow. Anything? Yes. I'll work harder than anyone. He studied me for a moment. If you want to stand again, do it with your own feet. No favors. I swallowed. Understood. My first tasks were menial, sorting shipments, checking inventories, answering phone calls. Every mistake felt magnified. Careful with that report, Mr. Harris said once. Accuracy matters. I know, I said, biting back frustration. You don't know yet, he replied, walking away. At lunch, I noticed her, Sophia, sharp-eyed and quick-tongued, reading numbers on her laptop. You're new, she said without looking up. Yes, I replied. I just started. You don't look new to corporate numbers, she said, glancing at my notes. You're overqualified for this job. I had a different life, I said cautiously. Ah, she said, finally looking at me. I don't do sympathy. Don't expect it. I laughed bitterly. I'm not looking for it. Good, she said, smirking. Then we can get along. Days passed. I learned to lift boxes, update ledgers, and handle customer complaints. Each small success felt heavier than any award I'd received at my father's company. You've got potential, Sophia said one afternoon. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Solve the problem yourself. I'm trying, I admitted. It's just different here. Different is better, she said. You'll see. At night, I sat in my tiny apartment, bills stacked in front of me. I missed the mansion, the power, the sense of control. But a thought crept in. Maybe losing everything wasn't the end. I called Mr. Harris. Thank you for giving me a chance, I said. Don't thank me yet, he said. Prove you deserve it. One day you might lead a company again. I will, I promised. Meanwhile, whispers reached me from the business world. Rumors about Daniel's leadership, reckless deals, rapid losses, employees quitting. They're failing, Leo's voice echoed in my mind. And you're gone. I clenched my fists. Not my problem, I whispered. Yet a small thrill ran through me. Maybe I'd been forced to start over for a reason. Sophia appeared beside me. You're thinking about them again, she said. I can't help it, I said. I built that life, and now it's crumbling without me. Good, she said sharply. Then learn from it. Don't mourn. Build. I nodded. Her words cut deep, but they were the truth I needed. Each day, I pushed harder. Spreadsheet after spreadsheet, shipment after shipment, customer after customer. My body ached, my mind raced, but I was learning to survive. One afternoon, I spoke up in a meeting. If we adjust the delivery schedule, we can reduce costs by 20%. Sophia looked impressed. Not bad. Mr. Harris didn't comment immediately, but his nod at the end of the meeting spoke volumes. For the first time, I felt capable. Later that night, I sat on a fire escape, staring at the city lights. I can do this, I whispered. I will survive. I will grow. Sophia's voice echoed in my head. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Solve the problem yourself. I smiled faintly. Maybe losing everything wasn't the end. Maybe it was exactly what I needed. And for the first time in months, I felt hope stir in my chest. The road ahead was uncertain, brutal, exhausting, but I was ready. I was learning to survive. I was sitting at my small desk when Sophia leaned over my shoulder. Look at this, she said, sliding a folder across the table. I frowned. What is it? Daniel's project, she said, tapping the report. They're bleeding millions. And this is just the start. I grabbed the papers. My hand shook. This can't be real. Real enough, she said flatly. If he keeps going like this, the company could collapse. I ran my fingers through my hair. I helped build this. I know every corner of it. And now I can't do anything. You still can, Sophia said sharply. You just choose not to. I leaned back, conflicted. I shouldn't care, right? It's not mine anymore. But it was, she said. And some part of you is still tied to it. Face it or ignore it. It's up to you. I stared at the numbers. He's reckless. Leo's pushing him, isn't he? Sophia nodded. Of course. Leo thrives on chaos. He's guiding Daniel into disaster. I clench my fists. I can't believe they're letting this happen. Later that night, my phone rang. The screen showed my father's name. I hesitated. Hello. I asked. Are you paying attention to the news? His voice was cold, sharp. I am, I said cautiously. I need your advice on the harbor project, he said. I can't seem to stabilize the losses. I froze. You're calling me for advice? Yes. I don't think it's appropriate. You've made your choice. Do it or don't, he said curtly, but understand the consequences. I swallowed hard. I won't help. Not now. There was a pause. So be it. Then he hung up. I sank into my chair, breathing fast. The audacity, the empire that cast me aside was now faltering, and they wanted me to rescue it. Sophia came by. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I muttered, though my hand was shaking. It's just him calling. He's desperate, she said. You should see the opportunity in that. What opportunity? I asked. Knowledge, she said. Mr. Harris told me he once worked with your grandfather. He knows secrets about the company's early struggles. Things Daniel doesn't understand. I froze. He worked with my grandfather? Sophia nodded. Yes, and he's sharing insights with me. This is huge. My mind raced. So the empire, the one that rejected me, is slowly falling apart. Yes, she said. Employees are resigning, investors are panicking, and Daniel's losing control. Chaos everywhere. I clenched my jaw. Part of me wants to watch it burn. Sophia gave me a knowing look. And part of you wants to fix it. Admit it. I exhaled. I do. I want to fix it. But not for them, for myself. Exactly, she said. You've rebuilt yourself. You're stronger now. You see clearly. That's your advantage. I picked up the report again, scanning the losses. Daniel doesn't understand risk, I muttered. He's desperate to prove himself, but he's blind to the consequences. And Leo? Sophia asked. Leo is manipulating him, feeding him arrogance and bad advice. They're a perfect disaster combo. I felt a cold satisfaction. Not pleasure, but clarity. So they need me, whether they admit it or not. Yes, Sophia said, and you can choose how to engage. Don't rush. Watch carefully first. I leaned back, staring out the window at the city lights. I thought leaving meant leaving it all behind. But now I see. It's not just their empire. It's part of me too. Sophia's voice softened. That's the difference between you and them. You understand responsibility. They only understand power. I nodded. Responsibility, right. That's why I survived when they tried to destroy me. Exactly, she said. And you'll survive this too. Only this time on your terms. I stared at the folder one last time. Daniel's out of control. Leo's a snake. My father. He thinks he still holds me back. Do you? Sophia asked. I don't know yet, I admitted. But one thing's certain. I'm watching, learning, and waiting. This empire, it's beginning to crack. And I'm the one who knows it best. For the first time in months, I felt a surge of purpose. The company that cast me aside wasn't untouchable. Not anymore. And I realized, quietly, that losing everything wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. I smiled faintly. Let's see how far this falls, and who will be left standing. The phone rang before sunrise. I didn't want to answer, but the number flashed my father's name. Hello, I said cautiously. Did you see the headlines? His voice was flat, tired. I did, I replied, keeping calm. It looks bad. You could say that, he muttered. I stayed silent, listening. The faint chaos in his tone was unusual. Daniel made another deal? I asked. Yes, my father said. And it failed spectacularly. I suppressed a small, bitter smile. So now the media is having a field day. Yes. Investors are pulling out. Employees are protesting. The board, they want a leadership change. I shook my head. And you're calling me for what? A pause. Then he said quietly, almost whispering, the company needs you. I froze. The words felt foreign. My father, standing outside my life for months, suddenly asking for help. You said I was temporary, I reminded him, voice shaking. I know, he admitted, but circumstances have changed. I need your guidance. I laughed bitterly. You need me? After everything? You cast me aside like I was nothing. I know, he repeated, and I regret it. But we are at a breaking point. I leaned against the wall, staring at the floor. Do you think you can just call me, and everything will be fixed? No, he said softly. I don't expect that. But I need your advice. Please. I can't, I said firmly. Not now. You've made your choices. Choices, yes, he admitted, voice weaker now. And the consequences are here. I hung up, heart pounding. My father, desperate. My empire, failing. Sophia appeared at my side. I heard, she said quietly. Your father called? Yes, I said. He wants me to save them. She raised an eyebrow. Do you even want to? I clenched my fists. Part of me, yes. But not for them. For myself. She nodded knowingly. Then watch. Learn. The collapse is still unfolding. The news hit the streets fast. Daniel's risky decision had blown up completely. Headlines screamed about millions lost, executives resigning, and investors fleeing. Looks like they really underestimated you, Sophia said. They always did, I muttered. I built this empire and they ignored me. Now it's falling apart. At the same time, Daniel finally realized the truth. He stormed into the office, shouting at Leo. You lied to me. You manipulated every deal for your own gain. Leo smirked, unbothered. I did what I had to do to survive. You were blind, Daniel. Daniel's fists slammed on the table. We were partners. And you used me. It's business, Leo said calmly. You just weren't smart enough. Their partnership shattered in front of the entire team. Employees whispered, some even cheering quietly. I watched from a distance, feeling a mix of satisfaction and disbelief. Daniel, who once had everything handed to him, was crumbling. Leo, who thrived on chaos, had finally created a fire too hot for even him. Later, I opened my door to see a familiar figure. My father stood there, hesitant, tired-looking. Not the powerful patriarch I remembered, but a man worn down by failure. He began. I need you. You mean the company? I said, arms crossed. Yes, he admitted softly. The company cannot survive without you. I shook my head. And what about the day you told me I was temporary? I was wrong, he said quietly. I see that now. I misjudged you, misjudged everything. I stared at him. The man who once ruled our world with iron control now seemed fragile, almost human. I'm not coming back for you, I said finally. Not yet. Not for him, not for Daniel, not for Leo. If I help, it's on my terms. He nodded slowly. I understand. But the company, it's desperate. I exhaled, looking out the window at the city lights. Desperation is a dangerous thing. And now they feel it all, don't they? They do, Sophia said quietly. Every last one of them. And for the first time, I felt a strange clarity. The empire that pushed me away, the family that abandoned me, the betrayers I once trusted, they were now forced to face consequences. I smiled faintly, bitter but true. Karma doesn't miss, I whispered. And this time, I'm just watching it unfold. The empire that rejected me was cracking, and I was alive to see it. The call started first. Executives I once trusted began reaching out. "We need your guidance," one said. Another emailed, "Your experience is invaluable. Please come back." I hung up without a word. My chest tightened with a strange mix of satisfaction and hesitation. Then came a message from my mother. "I know I was distant. I was wrong. Please consider coming home." I stared at the screen, fingers frozen. Years of silence, of avoidance, and now this. Sophia appeared behind me. "You got mail from your mother," she said quietly. "I see it," I replied. "After all this time, she wants me back." "You're thinking about it," she said. "Don't." "I'm not," I said, though I knew I was lying. Later, Daniel appeared at my office. His eyes were red, his suit crumpled. He looked small, defeated. I wanted to meet," he said, voice hesitant. "Alone." I gestured to a chair. "Sit." He sat slowly, avoiding my gaze. "I failed," he admitted. "Everything fell apart." I leaned back. "You weren't prepared. I thought taking your place would make me important," he said, finally looking at me. I was wrong. I studied him. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. Not fully. I felt clarity. "You wanted respect without effort," I said quietly. "You wanted power without understanding responsibility." He nodded. "I see that now. I didn't deserve it." "You didn't," I said simply. Silence fell. Not heavy, but contemplative. After he left, I felt a shift inside me. The fear, the desperation, the endless need for approval. It was gone. I realized I had changed. I wasn't the son begging for validation anymore. I was someone else. Mr. Harris called the next day. "I hear you've been visited by many old acquaintances." "Yes," I said. "And my mother." "You have a choice," he said. "Stay here, build something of your own, or return to that empire that once rejected you." I sighed. I thought returning was inevitable. Now I see it's optional. Sophia's voice cut softly through the room. "Just make sure the decision is yours this time." "I will," I said. "No one else decides for me anymore." I walked to the window, looking out over the city. The same city I once thought I needed approval to dominate now seemed different. My perspective had changed. Daniel's failure, my exile, the struggle to rebuild, I had survived all of it. Not by leaning on anyone, not by seeking approval, but by confronting every challenge myself. "I'm not the boy they cast aside," I whispered to the wind. "I'm the man I became." The calls from former executives kept coming, but I ignored them. The messages from my mother sat unanswered, though I didn't delete them. I had power now, not because someone gave it to me, but because I earned it. And for the first time, I understood what that truly meant. Sophia came closer. "You look different," she said. "I feel different," I admitted. "I don't need their approval. I don't need anyone's permission." She smiled. "Good. That's the you I've been waiting for." I nodded, letting the feelings settle. The hunger, the desperation, the obsession with what I had lost, they were gone. I had a choice now. Return to the empire that betrayed me, or build something new, something mine. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid. "I am ready," I said softly, ready to decide for myself. Sophia rested a hand on my shoulder. "Then make it count." I turned back to the city, letting the lights reflect in my eyes. The power I once chased, the life I once believed I needed, they were finally mine, but on my terms. And for the first time, I felt complete. No one could take this version of me away. I was no longer the son trying to prove himself. I was the man I had become, and that man would decide everything from here on. The boardroom was full when I arrived. Executives whispered, glances darting between me and my father. "Sit," he said, voice steady but strained. I stayed standing. "Before we begin," I said, "we need to talk." He raised an eyebrow. "About what?" "About all the years you ignored me," I said. "About the day you told me I was temporary." The room went quiet. Even Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "I worked my entire life for this family," I continued. "For you, for this company. And you threw me aside. My father's side. I thought it was the right decision. Enough," I interrupted. "Do you know how it feels to give everything, only to be replaced by someone else? To realize your family never truly trusted you?" "I was wrong," he said quietly, almost a whisper. I blinked. His apology sounded strange, foreign. You're apologizing? Yes, he admitted. I failed you. I ignored your pain, your loyalty. I'm sorry. I let the words sink in, measuring them carefully. The anger was still there, simmering, but it was different now. Controlled. Good, I said finally. Now, if we're moving forward, it's under my terms. Heads turned. Murmurs filled the room. I looked at Leo. You will have no role in this company. Permanently. Leo's smirk vanished. What? You can't. I can, I said firmly. This company will have a new leadership structure. Clear rules. No manipulations, no games. Daniel spoke up hesitantly. I understand. Maybe it's time I start over elsewhere. I nodded. You made mistakes, but now you have a chance to rebuild on your own terms. That's all you can ask for. He exhaled. Relief and guilt mingled in his expression. Thank you. I turned to my father. I'll return, but the past is not forgotten. Respect must be earned, not assumed. I will lead differently. He bowed his head slightly. Understood. And welcome back. I walked to the office that had once been mine, feeling its familiar weight. The chair, the desk, the quiet hum of the city outside the window. They were the same, yet everything had changed. I sat slowly, letting the air fill me. This wasn't the desperate son seeking approval anymore. This was me, fully aware of my strength, my boundaries, my worth. Sophia appeared quietly at the doorway. So, she asked. I smiled faintly. So I'm home, but on my own terms. I'm not the boy they once discarded. I am the man I became. She nodded. That's all that matters. The phone rang. Board members, investors, they were all eager for instructions. I ignored it for a moment, savoring the clarity. I looked around the office, imagining all the betrayals, the losses, the struggles that had led me here. Sometimes betrayal destroys you, I thought. Sometimes it breaks everything you hold dear. But sometimes it forces you to become stronger than you ever imagined. I picked up a pen, opened a fresh folder, and began reviewing reports. The weight of power was no longer a burden. It was a responsibility I chose to bear. Daniel would rebuild. Leo was gone. My father had acknowledged his mistakes. And I had returned not for approval, not for recognition, but because I was ready. I was ready to lead, to rebuild, to transform. The empire that once rejected me was now mine. Not because they wanted me, but because I had earned it. And as I looked out at the city skyline, I felt a quiet, profound satisfaction. I had survived betrayal. I had endured loss. I had grown beyond it. I was no longer defined by the past. I was defined by the man I had become. And that man was finally home.